Good evening, you beautiful, intelligent Homo sapiens. This video is recorded in the Rush Creek Preserve in Novato, California. Currently, we're looking over the Petaluma River over there and the adjoining, I believe, brackish wetland over there, all that entanglement of creeks and whatnot, waterways. But in the hill that's adjacent to those wetlands is quite a surprisingly diverse ecosystem. This Rush Creek Preserve, it's a predominantly, it's pretty much all Oak Savanna. So here in California and many other dry parts of the northern hemisphere, say for example much of the what's left of Italy and Greece and Turkey and parts of North Africa that are in a Mediterranean climate, and of course Spain and Portugal, don't want to leave them out. These driest regions that have oak trees, they have these oak savannas, and they're a very important ecosystem for one thing, but they've also been taken massively for granted. Mostly just seen as a place to get wood because oak trees are sturdy and shit, but that's not why we're here. Here in California, they're a host to a very diverse ecosystem that supports, I just guess maybe 90% of all birds. So that's one thing. But one of my favorites right here that just shows up is this guy. This is this big shrub right here, small tree, is the manzanita, botanically referred to as Arctostaphylos manzanita. It's in the blueberry family, the Ericaceae. Here's a good close-up of its peeling red bark. And see that peeling action? It must do that. I think it's a way of thermoregulation and also altering the soil chemistry in its favor. But they are a host to a marvelous amount of lichen. See that? And they thrive in these nutrient-poor soils generally because they don't have a lot of competition. But this species, again, Arctostaphylos manzanita, seems to prefer to grow instead of rocky places in these oak savannas, probably because it really benefits from that mycorrhizal association in the soil that all of these oak trees have, all that relationship that they have with the fungi. So here's one of the oaks that, now it kind of, you might be thinking, kind of looks like shit. Well, it is August, and it hasn't rained since about March, so it's been tough, and there's been some heat waves already. So yeah, it's been a little bit rough. Oh, here's back to the manzanita. There we go. There's a close-up of those leaves. You can see very plain. They kind of have a smooth sandpapery feeling to them, and they form these berries. And these berries are very unpalatable, but the indigenous tribes of all of California, they all interacted with different species of manzanitas, but they did make a hard cider out of them. out of these little berries, and I would like to try that one day. But I digress. These manzanitas are a crucial food source for, I mean, almost all birds in this bioregion, and coyotes and bears that weren't onto, I mean, into extinction. It's a bummer, but these oak trees are wonderful. And so back to the oaks. I was digressing again, but there's a good example, a healthy example of the dominant oak in this forest. This is the blue oak, Quercus douglasii, named after some guy Douglas. Sure, he was a decent guy, hopefully not a slave owner or anything like that. I don't know how long ago this was. It's an uninformed opinion. Who cares? Moving on. Blue oaks, I like them. I've always loved this blue luster that plants have here in the dry climates of the world. It's an adaptation to being able to reflect more light off the leaves so that they stay cool in a seasonably hot and dry environment. And what I find most notable about these blue oaks is that here in Marin and Sonoma counties, they aren't usually found this close to the coast. If you look up on a map, Novato, it's pretty close to the coast. I mean, within about an hour of driving, so give or take 60 miles. And generally, blue oaks, if you look at a distribution of them on the map, they are found in places more like Napa counties and Solano counties and Lake counties because, well, they like the hot, dry places. Another kind of plant, this one is actually more typically found nearer the coast, but it does well here, and I feel like the blue oak does well here because of this same factor. This type of soil seems to be, I'm just kind of making an educated guess here, comprised of either alluvial deposits from the river that were uplifted, or possibly of some sort of other sedimentary stone. Either way, this stone that occurs on this little peninsula of the Rush Creek Preserve has a very high porosity and a good drainage. And these kinds of plants, the manzanitas, the madrone, this dude, they really need that. Anyways, madrones, one of my favorite trees here in California. As you can see here, it has this gorgeous peeling bark, and it kind of makes a little bit of a mess on the floor with all these dropped leaves and whatnot. And they require a generally more acidic soil, dry conditions. These are excellent garden plants for those who want a drought-tolerant garden, because these trees, albeit they do grow rather slowly, are, when they're mature specimens, they are gorgeous. I mean, just look at these tropical-esque leaves. So, I mean, big and glabrous, which means smooth. And they have this silvery underside, pretty cool, with a red peeling bark. I really admire these madrone trees. Arbutus menziesii, that's the botanical name, in the blueberry family, believe it or not. That'd be the Ericaceae again, Ericac. Right. What? Yeah. Anyways, my brain's pretty rotten today. We're gonna keep moving on. Another spectacular tree that's made an appearance on this show probably every single goddamn episode is the California bay laurel. That'd be botanically referred to as Umbellularia californica. This beautiful bastard is in the avocado family. And they are also spectacular garden plants for those who don't want to water much. And they occur all over the coastal ranges of California, all the way up until about southern Oregon. And they also grow in the mountains of the coastal ranges and parts of the western slopes of the Sierra Nevada under about 4,000 feet. Pretty ubiquitous tree here in California, so it's not like endangered or anything. And it's, did I mention, in the avocado family, the Lauraceae. So it has these little fruits that look like hard avocados. They have no softness to them at all. If you got beaten in the head by one, you'd get really hurt. So yeah, but I just love these smooth, glabrous leaves, and they smell really good. But you can't do hard lines of them when you're snorting them, because they'll give you a headache. So the colonists called it the headache tree before it got the name of California bay laurel. But and the headache is because of a compound called umbellulone, a very toxic compound that lives in this tree. It's probably a defense mechanism against herbivory, so that large mammal, megafauna that did used to live here in North America some 300,000 years ago or so, didn't munch on it because they'd get really sick. Oh, there's the little avocado fruit. You see him? Isn't that cute? But yeah, these guys are relics of, they're just gorgeous. They're big time survivors, tough as nails. I love them. Relics, I believe, the Lauraceae are a largely tropical family, like avocados, and cinnamon is in that family. So yeah, there's a great oak tree that we have here in this region as well, the California black oak, Quercus kelloggi, named after a guy Kellogg. Beautiful friggin' plant. I believe the indigenous people, I can't quote if it's either the Pomos or the Miwoks or so many of them. They call it Telelepi, I believe. That's a beautiful name. And a huge food source. And those acorns right there. I mean, big time food producer. These trees can live for, I believe, 2,000 years or maybe 1,000 years or so. These black oaks, feeding people and wildlife for countless millennia, and just gorgeous plant. So it being an oak tree, it does pretty well in this dry environment, seasonably dry environment where there's a little bit of moisture. We get these torrential downpourings in the wintertime. But yeah, and it's just a great tree. I could go on about it forever, but nonetheless, I think, well, there's a few more other trees in this place, but if we get to them, we'll get to them. But it's a beautiful, beautiful day, end of the day, Sun's going down. And right on. So you can see that this environment is just dry. It looks dry as bone. It's like, okay, who gives a shit? It's not very pretty. It's not green and lush. But you come here in winter time after a good rain, maybe in about February through March through about April and May. This place is just booming with green grasses. By the way, all these grasses are invasive weeds. And the name, the Golden State for California, is actually kind of a lie, because these grasses were introduced by European settlers, not knowing that it was going to overtake. They introduced it because of the cattle that they were bringing into this place, so that we could have steak and everything. And I love steak, don't get me wrong. I mean, but nonetheless, the damage is huge. So, but there are the native grass was much different. It was like a clumping grass, and imagine, and if you could, these little mounds of grass that form a meadow, and each grass forms like a mound, and they're just around everywhere, just kind of forming a thick carpet of grass, but having all of this space in between. If you look here, this, for example, this rattlesnake grass, invasive, a little creature, say a vole or a bird, having a really hard time to force its way through this thick mat of dead grasses and such, whereas the gaps that are on the ground between the bunch grasses, the native bunch grasses, they'd have a lot easier time. It's like a little network for them in there. As to what effect this fact has had on the little critters is, I don't know. Maybe predation rates went up, and I'm not sure. But okay, and I'm just kind of rambling, but I'll try to get back on track here. This glorious bastard is the coast live oak right here. Another dominant tree here in the coastal ranges of California. The coast live oak, botanically referred to as Quercus douglas. Agrifolia. Quercus agrifolia here. Beautiful, glossy, rounded leaves with little spikes at the end of them. They don't hurt too much. And they get kind of big. The leaves get a little big when they don't get a lot of light. But further up in the canopy, they're pretty small. Tough as shit tree. There you go. See, this guy kind of died back a little bit right here. All those dying branches. And it's just regenerating. It looks like it had a branch fall on him right there. And it's just regenerating. So the lesson there is, don't be afraid to prune your plants, because it's actually good for them. Look it up. I can explain it to you. I can ramble on more about that. And I've been tossing around in my head, if you want educational videos on how to take care of your house plants. I do know how to do that stuff. It's kind of what I do for a living, so I can teach you, but I have to charge. So just let me know. All right. So here's another plant that you wouldn't think much of. It might look dead, but it isn't. It's just going into summer dormancy. That's what we do here. That's what the plants do here. Because the summer is so dry and so hot, plants' metabolisms will slow down, and they'll after they've bloomed, they will dry off all their blooms, and they won't be conserving water. So this guy is the orange bush monkey flower, otherwise botanically referred to as Diplacus aurantiacus, one of my favorites to say. Beautiful orange tubular shaped flowers that come out of there in about spring, early springish. Hummingbird pollinated, and its family is the Phrymaceae. I wonder how it got here. I wonder if this is where the Phrymaceae has originated and just dispersed out of. But that family is, I would say, more abundant in South America and such. So maybe it just a seed wasn't some bird poop or something like that, made its way up through millions of years ago. Who knows? Anyways, beautiful manzanita right here, Arctostaphylos manzanita. I can hear the birdies crawling through the brush. It's pretty nice. But yeah, albeit like this, where it's dry, plants have fascinating mechanisms of dealing with stressful situations from the environments that they live in. And no environment does not have a stressor. Even tropical environments where there's an abundance of water, but say if there were a fraction of an inch less, and that water, rainfall, that stresses the plants out. Okay, here's a nice one. All right. Those of you who know, leaves of 3, let it be. But this magnificent specimen of poison oak crawling up this, what appears to be a blue oak or a valley oak, is, I mean, that must be like, God, maybe 40 feet tall of vines of poison oak. And poison oak is botanically referred to as Toxicodendron diversilobum. It's in the mango and cashew family, the Anacardiaceae. What I love about what that translates to in English, meaning family of heartless plants. So, I mean, that's kind of unfair. There, I feel that poison oak is a beautiful plant. Admire it from a distance. And overall, it has a crucial role to play in the ecosystem. I'll tell you about that. The role that poison oak and all the other anacardiaceous plants, you know, for example, poison sumac, poison ivy, what else we got? Comocladia, So all these plants that give you a terrible rash to humans is just the reaction that us humans have to the compound urushiol. Now, urushiol is an oil that the plant produces in its tissues, the poison oak plant, etc., that actually is an antifungal. And it evolved that, more than likely, as a defense mechanism from rotting out, being consumed by fungus. Perhaps millions of years ago, or hundreds of millions of years ago, the ancestors of that family were having a lot of pressure from being destroyed by funguses, and these selective pressures of fungus caused an adaptation where that was necessary to not to have to be destroyed by funguses. So anyways, that itchy scratchy thing is not meant against humans. As a matter of fact, almost all other mammals are unaffected by it. We just happen to be, because we are just essentially weak, squishy, bipedal apes. So, and the hairlessness, that didn't help us. In a way, it did. You know, in our evolution, it really helped us to be able to run more and perspire more, to be able to track our prey. And yeah, so that persistence running is how the Homo sapien, was able to survive for this long. But I don't know, we pretty much nerfed ourselves, so I'll let that be. Nonetheless, here's some of that poison oak. See, this red color is because of summer dry. It's like fall, but in summer. It's beautiful, yeah. It's the plant shedding away its leaves for the summer. It's like, I'm done. I'm gonna close up shop. Winter is gonna come. I'm gonna just drop all my leaves and wait for the next big rain to come, and that'll take care of me. Now, funny enough, this poison oak right here, right next to each other, is greener, and that could be of two factors. This small ravine right here might actually collect more water, and the canopy might just be darker, so it's able to hold on to its reserves of, you know, its photosynthetic needs. Anyways, it might be getting too dark to film, but before I leave the camera, I hope to get one of my favorites on here. Another good example. All right, you see this plant with all the yellow leaves? Might look kind of sickly. Well, again, it's that summer dry, that stress of not having water for months, not having, well, a replenishing supply of water. I'm sure down in the water table there is quite a lot of water, and I'm sure these roots of all of these plants must go down at least 30 feet. to that water table so that they can stay nourished. But this yellowy guy is the California buckeye, and it is in the maple family, which kind of blew my mind because it has such beautiful big white flower blooms in spring. And most maples just have little itty bitty flowers and produce these samaras, you know, the little helicopter things that fall onto the floor with the seed. You know what I'm talking about if you go outside and stuff. I mean, come on. So, like, but yeah, these guys, these beautiful California buckeye trees, they produce, instead of those samaras, they produce these fruits that look like pears that have split themselves open to release a big brown seed that the Anglo-Saxons called a horse chestnut. Not related to chestnuts, just looks like a chestnut and can make your horse feel sick. I think that's why they call it, because it has these compounds that are called tannins, and they will give you a very upset tummy. You have to boil the hell out of these, out of acorns and of horse chestnuts to be able to get rid of those tannins so that you can eat them. So, yeah. Anyways, I like this place. It's got a wild feeling. You know, this is pretty much what this region looked like pre-colonization. It stayed largely intact besides all the invasive grasses, which is great. But yeah, I've been down here. You come here and you come here in spring, and there's all these like violets and ferns and all these different kinds of daisies, a couple of different kinds of ranunculoids like buttercups and larkspurs. Great stuff. Yeah, I like this spot right here. This is a great spot to end it, huh? There's the half moon. The bats are out. What's up? We got all this beautiful field here of what looks to be mostly coyote bush. Yeah. Great place, man. Actually, you know what? Here, just stick around for a little bit. I appreciate it. If you do, check this out. Walking over here. Walking here. You prick. So, look at that. There's that civilization shit. But I'm not gonna think about it. This beautiful meadow here with all this shrubbery and these hills. It really feels like a different time. It's like taking a time capsule when I'm out in these places. I love coming here when it's dark, in a way, when it's getting dark. I like to see the bats. Maybe a slight unease feeling, but that's maybe just my anxiety. It's whatever. But who cares? I don't care. But look at these manzanitas, man. They just are so pretty. Especially this one. This individual right here has some real funk to him, you know, just a beauty. Oh yeah. So it's got like just a real shape. I don't know if it was pruned, maybe just grew that way. I came here in the winter. This really broke my heart in a way. This was a beautiful buckeye tree that has died. I don't know how, but I hope its progeny that it has produced over the however many, I'm gonna guess this tree must at least be 40 years old. All the progeny that it has produced, I hope that its genetics are spread out, casting its seed. So, literally casting its seed. I'm not being dirty. You are. Stop it. So, what a great night. Summer nights are pretty, you know. There's this real nice breeze. It's a little cool now. Not hot as balls. 80 degrees. I know you're laughing at me, but it's 80 degrees is too hot. It's just ridiculous. Anything above that, anything above 70, I'm just like, fuck me. I'm done. Get out, get me out of here. Ugh. Beautiful lichen up on those oak trees, surviving off of the dampness in the air when the fog rolls in. So check out this little, what is this, like a, what do you call it, a little walkway with tree tunnel. That's what it's called. That's cool. Anyways, thanks for watching this raggedy ass informative video. If you had a good time, I'm glad. I hope you had a good day. I hope you have a good week, month, year, etc. Take the time to enjoy nature a little bit more deeply. It sure helps me calm myself. So, time to sign off. Thanks for watching. Bye.